The withdrawing of the nonprofit status in some organizations really, to me, this is my life work. It's my identity. So it doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like a mission or any of that. It is who I am. So I feel on a personal side attacked and like, okay, then I have more work to do. And on the professional side, scenario planning of what happens here, here, and here. So it's a balance. It's exhausting, but it's who I am. So I don't know how to retreat.
Welcome to In the Art Scene, a podcast about art world and people in it. I'm your host, Galina Marcus. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to In the Art Scene podcast. I, for a second, forgot the name of my own podcast. That's cool. But I cut myself very quickly. Anyway, just before we start introducing our today's guest, who is, again, exceptional, like all my guests, a quick reminder that all the show notes now reside on San Diego Artists Network.com under the tab podcast. You will see that all the new episodes starting season 10 are being hosted over there, and archive of all the other 9 seasons of the podcast still on the old URL in theartscene.com, but we will probably transition all of them all into San Diego Artists Network.com at some point. We're very shorthanded, but we're doing our best. Anyway, so for the show notes for this episode, go to San Diego Artist Network.com, click podcast. And if you like this show, please share it with your friends, subscribe where you listen to us. Or if you're watching on YouTube, we're now on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel as well. Thank you. And now let me introduce my today's guest, founder and a board member of Rock and Roll. Okay, that's a very long name. Rock and Roll Camp for Girls San Diego, Melissa Grove. And let me very quickly read from the website the vision of the organization. The vision is a world where girls, women, and or non-binary individuals, very important, collaborate and lift each other up. A safe space to create and nurture self-esteem and self-expression. So you guys are doing a very important work. You're uniting youth, girls and non-binary youth through music and creativity. Welcome to the podcast. Please introduce yourself.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here. I am the founder of the San Diego version of Rock and Roll Camp for Girls San Diego. I absolutely love it. We have fantastic mentors and support from the community, as you said, female identified, non-binary identified, and gender expansive. So yes, we do programming here, and it's super important and fun.
Yeah, well, you mentioned that this is a San Diego version. You guys are part of the National Alliance, is that correct?
That's right. There's, I'm going to say over 100 of these camps and programs all over the world, actually. I got introduced to the program through my friends in Los Angeles and was inspired for many, many years and complained that we didn't have one in San Diego. And then they were like, we don't have one because you need to start it. And it took me a couple years to like sink into that reality. And then I started it, and we're 10 years old this year. So this is our 10th summer camp, and we're going to celebrate and just, reflect. I've been looking at our past photos of, our students 10 years ago who are now in their 20s, and some of them are back here at camp as mentors. So it's been quite a journey.
That's so exciting. This is so cool. So before we get into, I have some very deep questions.
I'm ready.
So not to tarnish the conversation with deep questions, because I think what you're doing, especially today, May 20th, 2025, as we're recording, we live in the world where everything you do is under such pressure and threat. But before we get to that, please explain to our listeners what the camp looks like. Why rock and roll? How many camps a year do you do, and what do your students actually get to experience, and how does this come about?
Okay, great. As I said, this is my second favorite topic, so stop me if you need to. My
Oh,
first being my
we'll get to
cat.
cat. We'll get to cats a little later. Maybe. We'll see.
So the gist of the program, we're an empowerment camp and we use music to empower the youth, right? So what that looks like for us is it's a week-long summer camp where 50 kids come, they form a band, they learn an instrument, they write an original song, and then on that Saturday, at the end of the week, they perform it at the music box for the community.
All
So
in 1 week
yeah, yeah.
to form a band and write a song and perform. Oh my God, this is amazing.
I know. And that's the empowerment piece, right? We give them support, instruction. We also do workshops throughout the day. Obviously, like songwriting workshop is on day one. They also get to have collaboration workshops where they brand their band. They come up with their own logo,
Wow.
screen printed on their t-shirt, wear it for their band photos, wear it for their performance. So we also have image and identity workshops, community impact workshops. So it's a full week of half empowerment and half music. And by the end of the week, they're so amped, literally, that they take their new band and their song and
Okay, I lost you for a second. So from the by the end of the week, they're so amped. Can you say that again, please?
oh, do I have a spotty? So sorry.
That happens. It's okay.
Um, yeah, so and then at the end of the week, they're so amped with their new band and their new song. They take the stage, perform it for the community, and we celebrate.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And what's the age bracket that of
8 to 17. So we have two age groups. We call the younger ones the 8 to 11, the cassettes, and the 12 to 17, the records. And it's so fun because the program has a lot of cross-generational work. Our mentors are, young adults, and then we have a lot of moms or grandmothers who come in as volunteers. So there's a lot of cross-generational work, which I love. I think it's important. Yeah.
this is so cool. This is so cool. Why rock and
Thank you.
roll?
Yeah, it's funny. Rock and roll just seems, every band at camp produces a different sound. So I think rock and roll, the genre, we just like kind of encapsulates it. But because there's five instruments in each band, it all feels a little meaty and a little rock and roll, and they really embrace it. And some of them are power ballads, but most of it's just beefy and fun and really electric.
So let me ask you this. I mean, maybe writing a song and getting empowered to perform it in 1 week is obviously it's possible because you're having this whole celebration. You're having like 10 bands on the stage at the end of the week. But to get there, they still have to have some musical skills, right? They need to know their instrument, or is that not necessary?
It's not necessary. We provide
Really?
all the instruments, and our instructors, they're teaching artists and music instructors. So they meet the kids where they're at and grow or, balance them out. It's a really beautiful thing to witness. And, there are some years where we have very stage their stage fright, and they work through it with their instrument instructors in the afternoon when they're in their band rehearsals. Their band coaches blend them all together too. So
Wow.
there's not we do have some kids who come in with experience, but the majority don't. And they're there to try on an instrument for the week. And my
Wow.
favorite is when they come back the next year and try on a different instrument. And so it gives them an idea that, okay, maybe I'm not aligned with the guitar, but maybe I'll try singing or whatever. So we have guitar, bass, electric bass, drums, vocals, and keyboard. So they could come for 5 years and try each one of them on.
Wow. Wow. I would be bad on tambourine, and this those girls are doing it from zero, like from the ground up in 1 week. Amazing. It sounds almost too good to be true, honestly. This is so cool.
And I'm actually a product of the adult version. There was a version in LA called Ladies Camp, and I did that before I started San Diego. I went and I attended as somebody who's not a musician, never picked up an electric guitar, and it was like a boot camp. It was 3 days, and I
Three
left
days.
there 3 days.
Wow.
It was intense, and I'm not gonna lie, I did cry on day two. But I understood the program after I'm performing my two strums really on a stage in LA thinking, wow, okay, this is the piece I understand now. It's uplifting, it's empowering, it's collaborative, it's all the things that you might not necessarily get in your day to day. So yeah, and that's what sold me. I went back the next year and tried bass, and that's what really sold me. I was like, got it. Now we're starting this in LA or San Diego.
Wow, that's really cool. And I actually do get the idea of, this empowerment, like this feeling on the stage, because I think what the fear of public speaking or the feeling of performing in public, the fear of performing in public is like number two or even number one fear, like compared to the fear of death in the world, right? And breaking the through this in 1 week is absolutely impressive, and I can only imagine what impact it has on girls' lives going forward.
Yeah.
So here's my next question then. Although it should be obvious, I still want you to kind of spell it out and talk about why is the focus on girls and non-binary youth.
Well, my personal journey was 15 years ago when I started really paying attention of who had the opportunity to perform music on stage. You go to a lot of concerts, which I used to do many, many years ago, and I just recognized that female identified individuals were not equally represented. And as a female identified, concert goer, I started taking note of that. And it wasn't until I really started watching it that I thought, wait a second, we're missing, we have a whole, and what is the youth being told that they can only do this instrument or this or this. So, and because my background is in theater and child development, I really started taking note of what impact that had on our youth. So as I started developing it, it was to give the stage to female identified individuals, especially our youth, and tell them you are allowed to play the drums. You are allowed to be the sound engineer or the stage manager. You are allowed to do that. And so that's really the personal journey I had. And as I started recognizing it, then I started realizing there's a lot of other populations that don't get the mic either. So as we started developing the program, and since it's 10 years old, we've evolved with the programming here and the need in San Diego for our gender expansive youth. It's changed dramatically in the last 10 years. And I had, I think she was 9 at the time. They came to me and they said, I don't identify with girls. I just don't. I love camp. I'll come to it every year, but I don't identify with the word girls. And I worked with this youth and I said, tell me more. How can we make it so you do feel welcome? And then our logo, our camp logo, changed from Girls Rock to Girls with the X
Mm-hmm.
because that was inclusive. That was what we came up with together. So we're back to the original thought. We meet the youth where they're at. And right now, as you pointed out, there is another shift and there's a need for inclusion and just being mindful of who has the mic and how long do they have the mic and who are they passing the mic to? What does that look like? And so I'm always aware of programming that highlights different populations.
Yeah, and I really love how you have the non-discrimination disclosure like right in the middle of your
Thank
about page
you.
on the website. It's really
Thank
awesome.
you. I mean, I think personally, for me, it's a surprise that that's not typical,
Well, you
but
know what?
it's,
I actually looked at your website and I was like, we should do the same thing for San Diego Art Directory. I know we have it in the bylaws, but we should just need to put it on the website. It should be right there so everybody can see. And especially again, like I hate being political, but especially now, I feel like this is a fucking protest. I want to stand by it.
and what are what is the message that our youth, they're getting so much information. And at camp, we really try to put the devices away unless they're using it for reference reasons. But putting the devices away, getting them grounded and focused in the present is actually become so much harder in the last couple years, But they always thank me. Always. They're like, oh my gosh, my brain is like focused differently. And it's always a gratitude at the end of the week, although it's a little like, what? I can't, what about my device?
Well,
But I
it's
think
yeah, it's a bit withdrawal syndrome. Yeah, I
it
get
is, it
it.
is, it is. And I didn't grow up with that. So it's like I want to give that gift a little bit to them with understanding that things have evolved, and I'm on my device too. I'm on it right now. So I recognize that. And also, you can give it a break and just, but they get so focused in their music and their song that they start to forget that they have that thing. And the number one reason they come to camp is for friends. That's what our surveys say. So the band formation and the band branding and the collaboration really is that in the form of music. And so it becomes a very special week for all of us. I mean, I cry almost every day with joy and all the things. But yeah, it's a fast week, and we hope to have more. But right now, we're a specialized summer camp.
Wow, amazing. So, in 10 years, you must have stories from your, early students and early formed bands. And I'm curious to hear more. Like, I bet they're coming back to the camp, but is there something going on beyond the camp with their lives and their performance careers and their friendships?
Yes, it's funny. I'm going to do a shout out to No Regrets Bays, No Regrets Bays, was with us the second year. That was their band name, and there was six of them. I think 12-year-olds, maybe 13-year-olds, and four of them are now instructors at camp.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I know when I interviewed them, because there's a process to become an instructor, I always like to say, like, what was your experience at camp? And um, they specifically have their workshops that they remember, but the collaboration and the connection, they're all still connected now. Applying for colleges, we're always in their application process of like Rock Camp did this for me. So that's like such an honor to hear that. And just understanding that they might not have gone into music, but at least they have some of the empowerment skills and take away such a great experience from the week of camp. We have one who comes back every year. I mean, and as an instructor and a mentor and an instructor. So yeah, and yeah, on the personal side, finding out that she's like so intrigued about the backstories of all the instructors now. As a kid, you don't care. But now they're like, wait, so where did you go to school? And like, what is it? It's so interesting because now they're adults and they
Yeah.
connect in that way.
Yeah. So all your instructors and volunteers are also female identified or non-binary, or you have some male staff or
No, we have positions for males if they want to come cheerlead or be a roadie, but generally it's all female identified, non-binary, and gender expansive.
well, speaking of band cheering this kind of event, how much support do you have from the male population in San
Great.
Diego?
Oh, I tell you what, they are front and center when they're at the concert. I've never seen so many happy dads or guardians at the front of the stage cheering on. I have not, in 10 years, haven't really had any pushback, but a lot of, dads or parents or guardians always connect they understand um, what the gift is to their child. And I've gotten, oh my goodness, donations, instruments. So I feel like we've had a good amount of support. I probably only have a few interesting stories that were like, that didn't feel right. But to each their own. We're still moving forward.
Yeah, obviously. Well, and well, let's get to a little bit of a heavier topic here. Um, we're very lucky to be in San Diego. I feel like San Diego is probably the safest bubble in the nation right now.
I
But
agree.
how do you feel with all the things that are happening in the realm of diversity and inclusion, female rights, all the pressure on the cultural programs, all the pressure on national and local nonprofit organizations?
I, it's
Because
baffling.
you're in the intersection of all of it. It's a
All of
culture,
it.
it's arts, it's diversity and inclusion, it's female rights, and yeah.
All of it, all of it. I mean, I hadn't really become too fearful of it until the last couple weeks, maybe just watching the withdrawing of the nonprofit status in some organizations. Really, to me, this is my life work. It's my identity. So it doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like a mission or any of that. It is who I am. So I feel on a personal side attacked and like, okay, then I have more work to do. And on the professional side, scenario planning of what happens here, here, and here. So it's a balance. It's exhausting, but it's who I am. So I don't know how to retreat. Does that make sense? It's just I don't know who I would be if you took all those things away. And so I have to read, be informed, and continue my work is basically it. A lot of scenario planning. I'm an event planner, a nonprofit manager, so my scenarios skills are active constantly right now. And what's true and what's not, and like it's unbelievable. I just that's my text constantly. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah,
All the populations.
either that or cussing, like all the way
Yeah.
through.
Well, I'm leading the empowerment side today, but you're right. The when I clock out is a lot of cussing. And coffee. Coffee and
And
cussing.
coffee.
But it's devastating. It's just devastating. And you have to be informed and also plan. And that's just the person I am. And so that's where I live, exhausted, caffeinated, and not ready. None of this, you mentioned your bylaws before. I remember laughing and saying, we didn't have a global pandemic in our bylaws. but we made it through where a lot of arts organizations didn't, and now planning for this next phase is like, well, none of us had this in our bylaws to remove the very being
Mm-hmm.
of us. So what does that look like? And
Yeah.
because we're a collaborative organization, it really does need to be, hey, y'all, what does that look like? We represent all different populations here, so let's speak up.
Yeah. Well, as I said, we are very lucky to be in San Diego. I do have a lot of trust and a lot of hope in our San Diego community that's being very supportive to all cultural organization, the youth supportive organization, gender fluid populations, all kinds of populations. We are so diverse here and so inclusive that they might as well just cancel San Diego altogether. I guess I don't know,
Okay.
but honestly, it does feel like we have to persevere. I feel you, and also I don't know, send some hope and support to your sister organizations across the nation. Yeah.
It's absolutely true. And we used to, years ago, have a conference with these organizations, our sister organizations. And I remember specifically sitting with one that was telling me how they have to have their camp in the basement of a very old warehouse and, can't talk about it. And in my head, I'm thinking, whoa, I'm so
Wow.
happy that I'm in San Diego,
Yeah.
you know? But it it's a thing. And you're right. I feel very welcomed in San Diego. And uh it, but it's work. We're gonna have to work on it and continue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No time to relax.
No.
Well, speaking of time to relax, so this is a 1 week camp, dedicated summer camp. What does your life look, or your organization's life look, for the rest of the year?
That's a great question. So, I feel like we're in the process of growth, which is very exciting. Prior to the pandemic, we were having workshops, we were having an adult camp, we were having a full rock camp. And so that took us a little bit back. And so now we're getting back into it. And as soon as camp's over, believe it or not, we start planning for the next year. We start fundraising for the next year. We always have scholarships available for kids who can't typically afford camp. And so immediately after camp, we start fundraising for that, grant writing, all the things. And my board starts actively thinking about expansion. We'll be hiring another executive director, which is thrilling for me because that means growth. Um, and yeah, so we're in a really great year of growth at 10 years. And it's going to take a lot of structure and work. But that's typically what we do. We celebrate camp and then we start our fundraising efforts until camp.
So I know the camp is coming up,
Mhm.
and we will do our best to release this episode before the camp starts on June
Oh,
16th. Is that correct?
June 8th,
June
9th,
8th. Oh my God, we have a lot of work to do.
9th.
Okay. We have a lot of work to do. All right. Oh, yeah, the June 16th, I think, is the last day or something, right? Because I
So camp's June 9th to the 13th, and our showcase is on the 14th. Please come if you'd like.
So everybody heard that. Again, we will work hard to make sure that this episode comes out before the camp.
Great.
Um,
Oh, that's kind. Thank you.
and what is it going to look like for you in terms of expansion? So what are you adding? Are you planning on doing more camps, like, let's say, through other school breaks? Are you bringing back adult
Mm.
camp? What other things? How can people participate or enjoy being a part of your organization and what you're doing throughout the entire year?
Great question. And actually all of that would be is on our wish list. Ideally, we would like to start doing programming throughout the year, at least with workshops. We've been able to do weekend workshops. Sometimes kids can't commit to the full week. So we found 1 day workshops. We did that a couple years ago. We did quarterly workshops, and that worked really well. They learned ukulele songwriting. They learned singing songwriting. So I hope our hope is to do that again next year. I get at least once a week somebody asking me to have the adult version return. So that's in our wish list as well. So really, it's more programming throughout the year. We'd love to hear from the public to see, again, where's the hole? Where can we fill the hole? This programming is very special. And so where can we go? It was so dreamy to me at 5 years to maybe think we had a camp in every county. So that's
Mhm.
still on my wish list to, diversify the space. But that requires looking for a venue, a school that has a lot of space. We need a lot of space. So we're always open to hearing about school structures that have a lot of space for us throughout counties. Any ideas are welcome. Music Box has been absolutely dreamy to work with. So we always like to have our showcases there. But as far as the camp itself, we're always looking for different space that
So
can,
that
yeah.
was actually my next question. You don't have a home base, so you're
We don't.
you
We
don't.
did for a very long time down in National City, and then we jumped into this new space at a school at Montgomery Middle School and Linda Vista.
Hmm.
And really, it's perfect because we need so much space. I mean, we're talking 5 rooms, separate sound wise. So yeah, so we're always looking for schools that can fit that format and that love us and welcome us. That's a big piece of growth for us.
And the kids are coming from the entire, like, from all over the county or from.
All over, we learned.
Wow.
This year we learned even they come from LA, Poway. Yeah, so it's cool to see that they make this drive. But it is a specialty week-long camp, so that's what inspires me to consider other counties and spaces. So that would be the dreamy vision of growth for us.
Well, you are moving in the right direction. I feel like, yeah, we need more of this
Thank
for
you.
sure. For sure.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
And whatever we can do on our side to help you out, please utilize San Diego Art Directory whenever you're looking for something fundraising, calling kids for the new camp or advertising the final concert.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, what what did I not ask you? Because I feel like I asked so many questions and I was really, really trying not to, be a downer with the world we're living in. And I know for sure because I'm not a music person. If I could pass for 17-year-old, I would probably attend one of your camps. Because my husband.
Lady, the
Yeah.
adult version. I'll look you
Adult
up.
version.
Adult
I will do
version.
that. I will do that one. I will do that one. My
Are
husband
you
is a
still
musician.
recording? Are you still
Yes,
recording
yes,
with
yes.
that?
Yeah.
That sounds like a
I know,
commitment.
I know. If my husband listened to the show regularly, he would catch me on so many different things. But he is a musician. He is really passionate about it. I think I had, some kind of mediocre piano lessons when I was like in the middle school. I appreciate music, but I don't have any like musical education. And frankly, I'm kind of afraid because I know that it's going to be a commitment, and I am terrified of performing in front of hundreds of people. So to me, that's something that I know that I wish to overcome sometime, and also my other half kind of on his level, at least to certain extent. Uh, Instagram just fed me that little clip from A Big Bang Theory. If you have ever watched that, where Penny
Mm.
was asking Sheldon to teach her a little bit of physics to be able to talk to Leonard.
Right, right.
Kind of the same way. Like,
Yeah,
teach me just enough so I can pass. So, like,
right.
if I know what I'm talking about.
It's so true. It's funny too. I was just telling this story the other day. My brother was a fantastic guitarist. Like he was the musician in the family. And for whatever reason, I asked him one day, would you mind teaching me a little bit? Like I want to appreciate it on a different level. So can you teach me a little? And we sat there and when you're that professional to come down to my level, it's hard. I had to teach me how to hold it. He had to teach all the things. And he told me how to do a C and he goes, "Wow, I've never seen fingers look like that before." And that was it. I was like, "Okay, you're the musician. I'm going to go this way and be in theater." But we're finding that people get these little stories or nuggets in their head from previous conversations that we have to like unlearn that. So that's why adult camp is so special, is because everybody kind of comes in with the fear, with the old
Oh
memory
yeah, oh
of
yeah,
what
all the
a
conditions, yeah.
teacher, all the conditions, the teacher rolling their eye or the teacher saying something or whatever. And it's an unlearning process, this ladies' adult camp. And so I feel like you would be a perfect person to join one of the bands. But it's valid. It's a valid experience that you had or that programmed you to think that way. So we're with the youth camp, we're trying to like get that in front of that and say, okay,
Before anyone puts you in that box. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Before you hear that your fingers shouldn't look like that when we're playing a chord, like let's meet you before. So it's really about giving opportunities and in the platform of like, you can do it. You can do it. It may not look like the person who's been gigging their whole life. However, you know, you can do it.
Oh my God, I am so doing this when you bring it back.
Got you signed up already.
Okay. I'm first on the list.
First on the list. But to get to your earlier thought of, I know the space that we provide is an educational and inspiring space. And the reason why we like to meet the kids where they're at is because they're going to tell us what their perspective of the world is right now. And that is the biggest takeaway for us as the adults, is understanding what they're going through. I mean, I can tell you from the last 10 years, I can pinpoint what the kids have gone through based on their song lyrics. The first year was very fluffy and toes in the sand and like very fluffy.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
then as we started getting down the road here, and this year will be a perfect example of what these kids are going through. It comes out in their songs, which is traditional for any songwriter, I believe. So, and during the pandemic, I just broke down because the lyrics of one of the songs were, they're all on their devices all day, and one of the kids had written like, "Am I going to have any friends when this is done?" And it was a perspective I hadn't thought of. They're on their devices. So
Yeah.
we'll start seeing, and it's our role to be supportive and let them process all of that, and honor it and elevate it at the same time. So it's a little, I guess it's really what we're doing in life too right now, right?
Yeah, and
Identifying and working through it.
yeah, and I really love this notion that you're talking about, that they are free to express, that they have this instruction or like a lesson in songwriting, but they are free to express whatever so there's no theme for the camp or anything like that. And that you as organizers, mentors, teaching artists are actually paying very close attention of what is coming out of it and how it reflects our situation in the world and the situation from a very specific perspective, because 8 years through 17 years, it's a lot of different perspective. You have kids, and then you have teenagers, and then you have almost young adults, and they all are going through different things in their own bodies, in their own immediate circles of friends and families, and on a larger scale, right? Whether it's a school, whether it's a neighborhood, whether it's the country and the world. So it is,
It's so true.
yeah.
It educates us more than we expect by the end of the week, you know? And I think that's what's so special about all of our teaching artists, because they come in with the understanding that they're going to be inspiring and teach music. And they leave with such a different understanding and appreciation, but it's all done through music, so it's a little sneaky, but also, it hits differently. And so we on Friday we do what we call our Golden Mic Awards. And we have a red carpet, and the kids come in, and there's paparazzi, and they sit down, and all the bands get celebrated and get awards for different things. And then we do a few run-throughs for the performance. But at the end of the day, we all sit down and we call it our circle of love, and they share what they want. Some of them share a lot, and some of them don't share at all. But there's a tissue Kleenex box going around, and they really tell us some things, and it's our favorite part. But it concludes the camp with a space of sharing and acceptance and celebrating.
Well, it kind of raises the question for me, but and feel free not to answer that if you don't feel like it, or if you don't have a good answer. Or so with all that perspective and information, it seems like that could be useful for the other significant adults present in their lives, whether it's a school system or the parent groups or whatever. Is anything going out that direction to change something in their lives beyond the camp, besides the empowerment that they're getting?
That's
And again, no pressure
that
if
I
you.
know, no, it's something that's we have a lot of music therapists on our team.
Mhm.
And so I think what's great is a lot of the students or the kids will choose to continue on with their music. And so I think it's actually more of a connection that they might make that's through the music, right?
Mhm.
So while we don't facilitate it, it does happen, and we hear about it, but we try and facilitate a very safe space that's celebrated, and then what you choose to do next is kind of in your empowerment hands. I would love to see more programming that addresses more specific, but that opens up a whole new program structure. But yeah, I mean, the kids come back the next year and they'll tell me right up front, after I went to camp, this came up for me and I did this and this. Or after I went from camp, I went and tried drums on professionally, decided I don't like it. Now I want to do bass. So it's like we'll hear a year later, or the parents. We'll get a lot of emails from the parents. You've changed their lives. I'm now taking them here. We had some foster kids come into our program many years ago, and they kept us updated for many, many years. Oh my goodness, they're in their 20s somethings now. But so we do stay connected as much um, as comfortable for them and for our team. That's that's the light answer, I think.
Yeah. Well, no, and I'm sure that, what you do, that tremendous impact is going to have a ripple effect anyway.
I think so, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
does for sure. I'm a
Well,
product of it.
well, Speaking of which, I before we wrap up this episode, I would like to put you on the spot a little bit.
Okay. Oh boy.
I know you're
Okay.
you're not afraid of spots. You've done through
I'm ready. Bring
you've
it
gone through
on.
the boot camps and stuff. So why music? I hear, I didn't ask you about your background, but you told me that you're a theater major, the youth development, children development, and then the story about your brother, like you tried to learn something and then he completely broke the illusions for you. But then you made it through the adult boot camp, kind of a version of a camp. Why music? Why is it so important for you? And like, how did you get there?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I have just loved music since forever. I mean, I'm an 80s kid, so I bonded with going in my room and shutting the door and identifying with my favorite musician. And I still do this to this day. I mean, concerts bring me a happy space. So I don't know if it's just a space that shuts my brain down from everything and I can focus. And then I love lyrics. I love singer-songwriters because they're storytellers. And so I think that while I love theater, I was such a theater kid, an actress or whatever. I found joy in being behind the scenes more than being on stage. And that's and another awareness, back to your point, is like I didn't realize that you can be behind the stage as a female identified, and you don't have to be the girl on stage or whatever. So I think I attached to music because of just where it took me personally and as a youth especially, and then watching my nieces and now great nieces attached to music the way that they do. It just kind of kept evolving. And I mean, I strum a ukulele. I love to do that, but I'm behind the scenes putting all the musicians together to create a space that's inclusive performance. But yeah, I think music, it feels natural to me to collaborate in that area, but not do it, not perform it.
Yeah, this is actually a really, really good point that, you can find your place, not necessarily, it doesn't have to be, a front and center performing on stage, but you still can be a part of the process and a part of a group and be collaborative and know how much you contribute to the whole product to come out. Yeah.
Exactly. I told myself a story that to be around musicians, you need to be one, and so I had to learn an instrument or or sing or something. And then it occurred to me like 15 years ago, no, musicians actually need people like me who are the planners and the connectors and appreciate their craft, but you don't have to join them to do that. And so that's kind of where my spot is. And then with the child development background, that just seemed natural. And thank you for theater because I'm able to improv and interview. But it's all, it all comes together at some point in your life where you're like, this is why I did all these
Isn't
things.
that amazing, right?
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. And it's hard in the moment, right? You're
Yeah.
thinking, why did I do that job for so long? And then here I am
Yeah.
going, oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The older you get, the more you appreciate all the hurdles and all the like quote unquote wasted time and the jobs that you didn't like. And yeah, it's so
I
amazing.
agree. It's
Yeah,
it's fascinating.
yeah,
So I'm grateful for the journey, and I'm grateful for having the spark to start rock camp and here in San Diego. And I love watching it grow. I love watching different musicians and generations start coming in and filling the space. So yeah, it's been a lot
yeah.
of fun.
It is really great. And I also love your point about this collaborative process because me being a visual artist, it's more of a solitude kind of a practice, right? And my husband and I always have this conversation comparing, our processes of
Yeah.
like artistic expression, because for him, the whole point of being a musician is that feeling when he can walk with other musicians in the band and hear each other and
Sure.
contribute. It's not like being uh, the ones being one off, and really create that masterpiece that is really cohesive and harmonious.
Yeah.
While for me, it's like I don't know how I would collaborate with someone on one canvas, right? So it is a different process. It is a creative outlet, but it's a different kind of a like social environment. It's very interesting.
It is. And both are so beautiful, right? They're so, yeah, depending on what day I'm in, I'm kind of you and your husband. Some days I'm like collaboration, collaboration. Some days I'm like solo, solo, so I think, but as an artist, the vulnerability of being an artist to me is amazing. And I feel like maybe I'm missing that because I am more of the piece builder, but the vulnerability, like the vocalist that has never taken the stage before, now she wants to spend the week with us and then get on the stage, is like that vulnerability is mind-blowing to me. But yeah, I think the arts are, a very special, special place. And I just want to make sure everybody has access to them and to understand how special they are. Everyone who wants access to them.
Yeah, well, and thank you for doing this.
Oh,
So,
thank you.
80s kid, what's your favorite band?
I
I
can't.
did put you on a spot.
That's a lot of stress. Oh my gosh. I mean, on what day I could go all over the place. And I think that's what's so special. If we go down that road, like that's what's so special about that era, right? You've in 80, you got the bubble poppy, like colors and la la la. And then towards the end of the 80s, you've got the like darker, big hair bands. And so it's such a different that's why I think I'm so all over the place with music, is because of the 80s. There's not a defining for me. Well, I could go down the road.
All
But
right.
yeah,
Well, next time I'll
next
have you on a
time
podcast and we'll
I'll
we'll
get my talking points on that.
yeah, and please bring your cats too.
Yeah, absolutely. You got it. Cats included.
Right. We are at the top of the hour. If I didn't ask you anything, well, something that you really wanted to say today, this is your opportunity. Plug away whatever you want, or make a point that I didn't get to ask you because of my own ignorance. So that's your moment.
I think really I'm just so grateful that you're giving me this platform to speak about the program. And I encourage people to look us up, partner with us in any way that could look like donations, that could look like volunteering. We love finding like-minded organizations that we can partner and scholarship into the program. So yeah, I think just look us up and stay connected, because this is the year that we're starting to grow, year 10, and we're celebrating. And if this airs before, come see us at the Music Box on the 14th of June at 11 a.m. And see these kids and their talent. That's amazing after 5 days.
All right. Well, that's great then. Tell people how to find you online. What's the website? What's the social media? How to connect with you?
Yes. So I always freeze on that. Our
I
website
I
is,
said at the beginning of this conversation, that's a long
I
URL.
know, I did. So we are Rock and Roll Camp for Girls San Diego. Um, but our website is rockcampforgirlssd.org. And all of our socials are on there, so you can find us there. And yeah, just look us up and come have fun with us.
Awesome. And are tickets available for the camp performance on the 14th of June at the Music Box website?
Yep, on our
Okay.
website
Okay.
and the Music Box website.
Amazing. And if you post it on San Diego Art Directory, we will spread the word out as much as we can. Also stay connected with us. Sign up for our newsletters on san diego art directory.com. Melissa, thank you so much for your time.
my gosh,
this
thank
was an
you.
amazing conversation. I'm so glad that we met, and I hope that we will collaborate in the future as like-minded organizations supporting arts and culture in San Diego.
Absolutely, and I'll see you at adult camp.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You will not let me off the hook.
Nope. Already written it down. You're in.
Okay. Amazing. Thank you so much.
you.
And I'll see you again in the art scene.